Hopefully this works. I've not streamed to two places at once before. I've never used Restream before. So ideally, I did not completely, hopelessly screw this up. Chad, if you can see me, let me know. As you can see, we are doing our annual live mock draft special. As always, my friend, my brother, EJ Snyder from the Bootleg Football Podcast is joining me to roast every single pick that I'm making. We are doing said mock on the PFSN Mock Draft Simulator. You can find the link to that down in the description below if you guys want to get in all of your last-minute mocks and lock that in before actual draft day later this week. Very robust, very good mock simulator. EJ, before we even start here, I got to say, I locked in what I thought was going to be my mock last week, and then the Dexter Lawrence trade happened, and everything broke. And so I kind of had to redo the entire mock last night till about 2 a.m., and it ended up being wildly different than what I did last week just because of that one trade. So I think we kind of start with the Dexter Lawrence trade here first, talk about that, talk about how it changes the first round, and then we can get into the mock.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you did it tomorrow, it would be different again. That's the crazy thing about this. We talked about this on Blue Chip. Blue Chip just dropped on the Bootleg channel. If you want to go watch that, that's the final episode there. And I think it was Connor that said, hey, like a week ago when we were talking about this was true, this was true, this was true. Now, that's, I saw McShay say the same thing on TV yesterday. Like, who would have thought that if I told you that Jermod McCoy was going to be, maybe a second rounder and that, somebody was going to be fought over at pick 20 last week, what would you have said? And like everybody, no, of course not. And now, like, it's the same thing. And I bet if we wait till tomorrow, there's probably another big move. So yeah, mock drafts are a minefield this time of year.
I mean, even McShay is kind of going back and forth on Reese and Bailey and Reese. And at this point, I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's going to be one of them. We know that. It's like, I know who I would do, but trying to predict who's going to go at second overall is just not interesting enough to me. I'd rather try to be correct in the evaluation because in the end, I don't think people are going to look back in 3 years and be like, oh my God, you guessed Arvell Reese to the Jets and got it correctly. I think the important thing is, you evaluated Arvell Reese the right way and had him projected to the right role. I do want to touch, kind of expanding on the Dexter Lawrence thing. There were people that didn't like the Bengals side of the deal. There were people that didn't like the Giants side of the deal. I ended up being okay with it for both of them. Honestly, I understood for both of them why they did it. The Giants wanted to retain Dex. He just very clearly didn't want to be there anymore. Picked up a 1-year extension with the Bengals, so potentially opening themselves up to yet another kick the can down the road. We're going to have to get into another contract fight in a year or two with Dexter again, but it's fine. I think the Bengals, from their perspective, they're like, hey, we're not going to get anybody like Dexter Lawrence at 10 in this draft class, or specifically the defensive tackle class. It just doesn't exist. There's nobody that's that good. There's nobody that's going to be that impactful for us that's still there at that pick. And so they're like, we believe we're in a window. We want to get an impact player that can get us over the hump, which from the outside looking in, you're like, are the Bengals in a window? They sure think they are. So I understand them being aggressive. They don't really care what the team looks like past 2027. They are locked into 2026 and 2027, and they're going to cross that 2028 bridge when they get there. They have their offensive core. Now they have an impact defensive player. Like, I understood it. My one criticism, and it's really not even that big of a criticism to the Bengals, I do wish the extension was multiple years, or at least like give me a long void year runway so that we can lower Dexter's cap hit over these next couple years and like really go all in, like take all that money and spend it on even more stuff, get him even more help. I feel like Dexter's representation was like, nope, we're stopping at a year. We want to come back to the table and do another bit. Like, I get it. I get it from Dexter's perspective. If I was Cincy, I would have fought a little bit harder to get a multi-year extension, not just a 1-year extension, but it is what it is. I understand it. Overall, I was fine with the trade. What about you?
I was too. I was hoping that my team was going to pick up Dexter Lawrence for many of the same reasons, except the Cincy argument, I think people got a little cloudy. They were like, well, it's 10. Because typically 10, the 10th overall pick in an NFL draft, is going to get you a blue chip or very high-end starter. And it might in this draft, but it might not be at a premium position. And there's nobody like Dexter. Now, at 25 for the Bears, I think that's a that's a knockdown argument. You're just like, yep, absolutely, that we would do that. I think a lot of people thought, well, 10, they could have got something at 10. And I don't really think they could have. We've done a lot of mocks going through this season. And even Daniel Jeremiah, who we had on the pod, last week, was talking about the fact that right before this, he was talking to a GM and he's like, the Bengals are kind of screwed at 10. What are they going to get? Like, if they can't go down, if they have to stick and pick, what are they really going to get to improve their team? I think the Bengals kind of saw and felt that as well and said, if we can make this work, and they did eventually, our team will be better than if we stick and pick, no matter what. So that's the sort of logic to do the trade. I get it. Everybody talks about Dexter Lawrence, last year, and it was a down year for him. Still a pretty decent year, but definitely a down year for him. I, until very recently, thought that was injury. It sounds very much like he walked in and said, I'd like some new money on a fairly fresh deal. And the Giants said, hey, man, we just freshened up your deal. No. And he went, fine, bet. I'm not going to work out a whole lot. I'm just going to roll in here and do what I do because I'm not happy. And, players do that. It does happen. So I don't think it's an issue of, Dex is declining. We heard that a lot. Oh, he's 28. He's going to be 29. You can't give him money. There's a lot of defensive tackles that play really well till like 32 or 34. So I don't think the age is an issue. I think if he's motivated and happy with a new contract, he's going to come in and be a wrecker, and that's a benefit for the Bengals.
I forgot to grab my whiskey, and I'm looking back on the shelf, and I can't see where the bootleg bottle is, so I must have stashed that somewhere. But it's okay.
Stashed.
Backup option.
You have many backup options, if we're being honest.
Napo Castle 14.
Oh, very nice.
Anytime I do a show with you, I feel compelled to drink Irish.
Well, sure. I appreciate being your muse that way.
It's honestly, it's fine. If I did the bootleg bottle, I don't know if I'd make it through the stream because that thing is like 118, but
yeah,
it's all right.
So a little bit on the hot side. I was on Rock Pile Report talking about inside linebackers, our buddy Drew and Chris that have the longest running Bills podcast at this point. And Chris saved his bootleg bottle for when I came on. They both opened it and tried it on the show. That was a lot of fun.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. It was a good time.
So people are in the chat are saying that I am quiet. So I'm trying to make myself not quiet. Give me 1 second here. Properties.
Just so all the folks in the chat know, I do not have my hands on the controls for this particular stream, so it was not me. I did not do it. Wasn't there, didn't do it.
Wait, how do I put it over? I might just swallow the mic and just make myself as loud as possible.
Got to do what you got to do,
folks. Not filters.
Sounds like maybe balance.
To have a way for me to up the audio. Oh, there we go. All right, they moved it on me.
I was going to say, for the behind the curtains, we used to do OBS for our Thursday night live stream. So we were pretty well polished on OBS. We did it every week for a couple of years, and we haven't touched it in, fair bit now. So, yeah, things have moved, strangely.
All right. Chat, how about that? Am I louder? Am I good? Am I clear?
Pound a couple swigs of that whiskey, and you'll get
Brett
louder.
Got quieter. Well, fuck. I bumped it 10 dBs. That's not supposed to happen.
Oh, man.
Okay, we'll figure it out as we go.
ASMR, Brett.
Okay, it's better. It's better.
All right. Very nice.
To the mock. So,
to the mock we go.
Again, we're using the PFSN mock draft simulator here. So you could do multiplayer on it. You can do 7 rounds. You could set your pace for it. I'm just doing all teams. Entering a solo draft, just doing it normal. First pick overall. I don't think we really have to really expand on this too much. Fernando Mendoza. I'll start off by saying I think the Kirk Cousins signing was very prudent because I don't necessarily think Mendoza's ready to play right now. If you're looking at the system that he's coming out of in Indiana, again, not very under center heavy whatsoever. Kubiak runs a very under center heavy offense, very RPO heavy, very, let's say, sideline shot heavy. Like when they stretched the field, a lot of it was, hey, Surratt, Cooper, like we're running a fade. I'm going to throw a dot. It's not really like a long progression for stretching the field. It's very much like a, hey, if we have leverage or if we have numbers, we're going to take our shot here. Or space, when it comes to the slot fade stuff, when they throw those slot fades to the field to Cooper. So it's not a very complex offense. I don't think he's really ready to handle a full Clint Kubiak offense right now, like we've seen Darnold handle. And so I think the Cousins signing is prudent because he can play right now. Mendoza gets to develop on the bench. There's not a lot of pressure for him to be like an immediate contributor. And we can see, ideally, what Mendoza looks like in 2027. I think that is probably the best case scenario for the Raiders. That being said, he's still the pick for me because ideally, the Raiders, with all the money they spent, are not going to be bad enough to get a quarterback in next year's class. So Mendoza's probably their best shot at getting one, even if he's not ready to play right now. What say you each?
I cannot wait for the LinkedIn updates on the playbook weekly. I think it's going to be fascinating cinema. No, I agree with you. As a player, it's nice that he has a runway. It's nice that he doesn't have to get thrown into the pit immediately. He does seem like a guy that is, a gym rat, to use a basketball reference, right? This is a guy that was texting his head coach in the middle of the night. Hey, coach, we could do this. Hey, he's a grinder in terms of film, ball, concepts. He's going to pick it up. He's a smart guy. The challenge for all rookies coming to the NFL is it's a lot, especially when you're the number one overall pick, especially when you're face of a franchise. You are the savior anointed as the number one overall pick. You got a lot to learn. The guys are bigger. The guys are faster. Heck, you even have to earn your helmet sticker now. So yeah. He's got a lot of things to do, and it's nice that he doesn't have to know, hey, starting week 1, it's all on me. Because, look, rookie seasons for quarterbacks are tough. Even the very best ones are not that great. You have to sort of take your lumps and get through it. And the fact that he can sort of take the edge off a lot of that by watching a pro's pro. Kirk Cousins has been in multiple systems, the ultimate bag getter in terms of NFL contracts, and he can watch a guy go out and execute, command of the huddle, make changes, get on guys when they're not doing the right things. He can just pick up a ton of things from Kirk while he is deep in the playbook and refining his game to match the NFL level.
Kel left a super chat for $5. Thank you, Kel. Just want to confirm before you get started, you guys will be accidentally streaming the whole draft again, right? Yes, we will. Yeah. Over on the Bootleg Football channel, we are going to be live for every single pick, as is tradition. No commercial breaks, potentially a couple pee breaks and or wing breaks if Tyler comes over again on day 3. But we will be live for every single pick. We go live half hour before the start of day 1. We're also doing our Draftsman's Eve stream tomorrow over on the Bootleg podcast channel. So if you want to get some last-minute draft takes off, we're going to be live tomorrow night. It's 4 straight days of streaming, essentially, each.
Yeah, no, this is the beginning. One thing somebody said, how are you feeling, heading into the draft? And I was like, honestly, draft kind of starts tonight for me. We do the mock, then we do Draftsman's Eve, then we do 3 straight days. It was 5 straight, fairly long streams. This is it. This is the beginning of the draft. It's kind of like lighting the fuse, and it's a slow burn for the next couple of days, 2.5 days. But this is it. We are in the lane.
Chief O'Reilly says you have 30 minutes. Go Sabres.
Yeah,
Dude, Buffalo's been popping off the last couple days, man.
Dude, they are pent. It's been so long since the Sabres were even relevant, and now that they're actually good, Buffalo kind of doesn't know what to do with its hands. Well, actually, they know exactly what to do with their hands. Eat wings and drink beer, and they're doing that in copious amounts. So go Sabres.
Connor says, which player are you taking number 1 overall in a Malort drinking contest?
Ooh.
I don't think I'm allowed to give my answer because I don't know how public that is. So pass.
Let's can we go with NFL alumni?
Who did the beers challenge on the plane? It was a baseball player. It did like a 30 rack.
Oh
It wasn't Jose
man.
Canseco, was it?
No, I don't think it was Conseco. That reminds me of something like Kruk would have done, but I don't know that it was John Kruk. If I'm taking NFL alums, I'm taking some of the guys from the 50s, man.
Oh yeah.
Those guys,
These
they
people who thought
they all had,
cigarettes were medicine.
yeah, they all had part-time jobs. They're going out and getting hammered in local bars with the fans afterwards, getting in fights, like, and then getting up the next day to go to work as a carpenter. Like, those
That was
guys,
Wade
they
Boggs.
could handle it. Oh,
That's
Wade
funny.
Boggs did a 30?
A 30 on a flight across the country.
Wow.
Crazy.
Nice. Boggs was Boggs was something else.
Speaking of drinking a lot, to the Jets fans in chat, the debate is Bailey and Reese.
Oh.
You guys know my stance on pass rushers. I tend to prefer size. I tend to prefer strength. While Reese is the smaller of the two, he is the stronger of the two. Bain is the most prototypical edge to me in this class because of his style. But I am going with Arvell Reese because I don't really see him as an edge. I see him as an off-ball linebacker that sometimes moonlights as an edge. My comp for him, as far as role, and I've said it a couple times, but like smaller Dante Hightower with a jetpack would be how I would deploy him, or like the way that Jeff Halfley deployed Micah, lining Micah off ball over a center on third downs and letting him pick his spots. But as far as like down to down projection, rookie Von Miller in Denver when he was a 4-3 Sam, that to me is Reese's best spot, where he's doing a little bit of everything. He's dropping into coverage. He's playing off ball. He's rushing off the edge. I think if you want a full-time edge, you're not taking Arvell Reese. I think you're taking Ruben Bain here, not even David Bailey. And I know some people have issues with arm length. I really don't with Bain. I think he's just fine. But I'm taking Reese not to be an edge. I'm taking Reese to be a weapon. And to me, he is worth the second overall pick.
Yeah, he is a matchup weapon, and if you're going to get the most out of him, and I want to put this in capital letters right now, like when you draft him, his usage in the first, I will say, half a season, you have to move him around. And that's because you can exploit what he is. And a lot of people talk about size. Yeah, they talk about height and length as positives, but they're like, oh, he's only 240, 245. I don't know. He's not going to be He is so freaking strong, like on film. He is so pound for pound, like rugged, just standing up guards who outweigh him by upwards of like 70, 80 pounds, just stonewalling them. And I think that gets kind of overlooked in this, like, what's his tag? Where's he going to play? Like, yes, you have to move him around. You can't just put him in one spot. I mean, you can, but I think that's selling yourself short, especially for number 2 overall pick. And he is incredibly mobile. He does have a lot of experience playing off-ball linebacker stuff. He dropped into coverage. Oh, I'll pull it up. Many times.
Well, shit, you just
season.
saw him moving around the combine doing those
he
drills.
did
You're
everything.
like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is if you're going to pay the premium, and it looks like they are, and if they aren't, somebody else is. Reese had 251 coverage snaps last year. That's more than some corners. So, like, he's got experience doing all this stuff. Plus, he suddenly decided to take up an interest in pass rushing, like a professional interest in pass rushing. He got a coach.
He just learned how to do it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't even really do it. I was just kind of vibe rushing, basically, right? That's what he said. He was just picking his spots and like, I'm bigger and faster than you. Like, if he gets technique, and he already has some, but if he continues to get it, you're going to start to see in the second half of his rookie season, he's gonna put a like combo pass rush move on somebody, right? It's gonna be like a little inside chop, jab, Euro step outside thing, and everybody's gonna go, what? And it's like, yeah, that was in there. He just didn't have to do it, right? And people are going to start to see the potential at that point. And then, hey, if you want to like move him more predominantly to edge once he's dialed that stuff in, sure, but you still want to take him out on third down and stand him over a guard and see if the guard's A, quick enough, or B, strong enough. The answer is probably no to both. So that's how you're going to really pay off that pick.
Yeah. Once he learns to really rush, it's like when Happy learned how to putt. Like at that point, there's There's nothing
Yeah,
there.
good luck.
Good luck. Number 3, Arizona. Intriguing pick here.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know is saying that Bidwill is doing Bidwill things and pushing for Jeremiah Love. I understand why I have Jeremiah graded as my top player in this class. He does not fix any of their issues, like at all. So I'm just going to ignore the owner on this one. And I'm going to go with Francis Mauanoa. To me, my top graded offensive lineman in this class. He is a true right tackle that can also play guard. He's not a guy that you start at tackle and see if he survives, and then if not, kick him into guard. Like he is a tackle. It's more you're only putting him at guard if you have a plethora of tackles and you need him at guard. He starts at tackle. I think he's a very, very good player. My comp for him was a foam pit that you jump into because like you might move him a little bit initially, but after that you're just going to stop and die a slow, painful death. Like you're just not going to be able to move around and get away from him. Like once he gets his hands on you, it's over. Very, very strong. If you want like an actual player comp, like Cordy Glenn, I would say is a good one for him. Very solid starting tackle. I don't think he's going to be Joe Alt. But if you looked at the right tackle situation that Arizona's had, especially last year, it was awful. It was like a bottom 5 right tackle situation. Basically, everybody across from Paris was not good. So give me your tackle tandem. We can go into 2027 looking for a quarterback. I don't buy the Ty Simpson smoke for Arizona either, by the way. So I want my tackle tandem. I've got my weapons. I think running back is fine. Obviously, we got Trey at tight end. And all of a sudden, we got a pretty good ecosystem here for a young quarterback next year.
Yeah, I don't not buy the Ty Simpson smoke, but I buy it later. I don't buy it at 3, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
So Mauanoa is, as long as they're comfortable with his back health, and what a lot of people don't know about herniated discs is you treat the causes. Like there's a reason that he has a herniated disc. You figure out what the reason is, and is it flexibility? Is it an injury? Is it whatever? And once you treat the causes, it's not it doesn't have to be a recurring thing that he deals with. Obviously, that's a very scary thing for a lineman. And is he injured? If they're comfortable with the medicals, yes, take him, plug him in. Sets the stage for 2027 really well. And it's really interesting. I had a meeting last night with a current college football lineman, and we were talking about the whole tackle to guard. I just wanted his take on we were talking about one player in particular, but it became more of a sort of theoretical about what makes that transition work in guys and what makes it not work. And we were talking specifically about tall tackles. And he said, tall tackles tend to struggle if you put them at guard because they get pinballed around. And I said, say more about that. And they said they don't necessarily like it. They're used to playing in space. And now you put them in a phone booth and you punch them from both sides. And some guys aren't into that, and some guys are. And he said at tackle, it's not about punching somebody as hard as you can, right? You're in space. You have to play with balance. You do have to punch, but if you punch that hard and miss as a tackle, you're done, and there's nobody there to help you. He said at guard, it totally is. It's about punching somebody as hard as you can. So if you're into that, or that's the way you want to play tackle, and that's a sort of shortcoming as a tackle, you're going to be a great guard, right? You want to get pinballed around. You want to punch somebody as hard as you can. Those are all guard traits. Those are pluses as you move inside. If you're a guy that likes to space a little bit more, and yeah, you can punch people, but it's not your thing, and you're really tall, because we see it with Ben's really tall guards, it's troublesome. So I thought that was a fascinating little insight about, this is kind of an extra layer that you can put on, or an extra filter you can put on and say, hey, do I think this guy's going to work? Well, how's he play tackle? Right. And that could either lend itself to guard, or I don't think that's a great projection.
Yeah. It's why we like Spencer Fano so much. It's because realistically, he'd be high level at both because of his build and his stature and his play style. All right. Titans at 4. I've gone back and forth on this one more than almost any other pick.
Yeah, this is a sort of a tilting pick. A lot of people say that's Arizona, but I think Arizona could be chalky after all the smoke. Titans, the board just kind of goes wide open, and there's a lot of directions they can go.
It helps they're a bad team, so they kind of need a little bit of everything. But if Mauanoa was on the board, I would consider it, because my feelings on J.C. Latham, but he's not. And so really what I'm deciding between is Jeremiah Love and Ruben Bain, as far as best players on the board for me. Ultimately, I decided on Ruben Bain. because if I'm looking at the edge group right now for the Titans, it's not bad, but I don't consider it great. I think you add Bane into their current rotation, and they could be great. And you package that together with Jeff Simmons. I mean, Jeremiah, Simmons, and Ruben Bane together. First of all, you're not going to run the ball very well on them to begin with. Second of all, if you do get into third and long, you're probably going to die. So while I would like to help Cam out here with either a incredible running back or maybe improving his offensive line, like you and I have talked about, even Ioane, like I think the Ioane discussion starts here. Ultimately, I think I want to help out Cam by just giving him more at-bats, which means more possessions, which means forcing more punts and potentially even more turnovers. And I do that with a dominant defense. So if I improve our overall average starting field position by making teams punt earlier, if I'm giving him more possessions, like I kind of trust Cam to make enough magic with what he's got if we get him like 12 shots at the plate every single week instead of 9. And that starts with having a great defense. Plus, Ruben Bain's just a really good player. So I don't have any nervousness about it.
Yeah, I think if your grades are anywhere near similar, you go with the edge here. One, because of positional value. Two, because you can get other running backs. I'm not necessarily going to say in this draft. You certainly can't get any other running backs like Jeremiah Love in this draft, but you can get help at running back. You can get help at guard later on. That is very solid. There are sturdy guards in the middle rounds here. It's not like Tennessee has one pick in this draft and they have to decide everything. So if you're anywhere close, grade-wise, between Bane and Love, you go Bane here. Because if you hit on Bane, and I think you have a very high chance of doing that, I think he's going to be a good pro. He's also incredibly versatile, so you can bump him inside on third down and have him just maul a guard too, which is kind of fun. He did that plenty at Miami. You go with Bane because positional value, surplus contract, and you are making a nasty defensive line for the Titans at that point.
Somebody in chat said that Saleh needs a wide 9 rusher and Bane doesn't fit. Trust me, Bane fits. Because if you put Bane in a wide 9, you're just giving him a runway to hit you with power. In fact, I'm more scared of him at a wide 9 than I am putting him at a 5. That dude moved people. So he fits. Trust me. He really does. All right, Giants at 5 here on the old PFSN mock draft simulator. At this point, just because of the value of the player, I have to go Jeremiah Love. I understand they took Cam Scatabo last year, and he's a fun player. Cam Scatabo, let alone Cam Scatabo coming off injury, is not stopping me from drafting Jeremiah Love. The grades are not even comparable. The quality of player is not even comparable. I can't pass on the best player in this draft at a position that maybe isn't a position of need, but like we can still significantly upgrade here. And we still have pick 10. So you can call it a luxury pick. Sure, we're not burning our only first round pick here. Like part of the reason why the Dexter trade was so impactful when I was redoing this mock is it gave me license to play around with the 5th overall pick. Like I could get away with doing Jeremiah Love at 5 because I'm coming back at 10. So I'm helping out my young quarterback. I'm giving him an explosive option out of the backfield. I think he is arguably the player that is least likely to miss in this entire draft. And if I'm picking in the top 5, I just need to not miss. Plus, I'm going to upgrade my backfield. Fans are going to love, and I know Giants fans have like terrible memories of taking a running back in the top 5 and it not really working out for them. I will say it wasn't because the player wasn't good. Saquon was great. It's just the ecosystem that Saquon was drafted into wasn't ready for him. I think the Giants are more ready now for a running back like this than they were when they took Saquon. So even though Saquon, I had a higher grade on him as a prospect, I think the Giants might maximize Love more than they ever maximized Saquon. So, is it not ideal as far as quote-unquote positional value? Sure, it's ideal as far as quality of player.
Yeah, and I think it helps Jackson Dart, too. Like, we're talking about a quarterback that had how many concussions in his first year? Multiples?
Reported or not reported?
Yeah, multiples. Let's just go with multiples. I think that's a safe estimation. And if you are taking some of the snaps out of his hand and still giving yourself a very good chance to generate an explosive play on offense with Jeremiah Love, which you're doing, either putting the ball in his hands through the passing game or just running it behind what I think is a better offensive line than what Saquon walked into, you are basically taking some hits off Jackson Dart. And that's not a bad thing either, because he can still come back and, no pun intended, throw those darts down the field to neighbors. Or now I'm really curious for 10. Got to say that. Like, we're
Oh,
not done
trust
yet
me,
here. We get
is
uh-huh.
good.
It's good. So you can have an offense here where less is put on Jackson Dart. He doesn't have to try and extend the play. He's still going to sometimes. That's his play style. But as a coaching staff, you can say, hey, look, you are surrounded by people that are trying to help you out. Let them help you out, which is a maturation thing. I think with all young quarterbacks is you don't have to do it all. We got all these other good players so that you didn't have to. Look, in the fourth quarter, occasionally we're going to hand you the ball and say it's all on you. But, for 3/4 of the game, that's not the way we need to play.
All right. Browns at 6. This is one of the more chalky picks. Well, at least in my opinion, it's chalky. And I think Browns fans would be okay with it just because it's very prudent. It makes sense for a lot of different reasons. And even if we don't know exactly which hole this is going to address, we know it's going to address one of them. So give me Spencer Fano at 6th overall. He's going to play somewhere between center and left tackle. I know that much. My goal is to get the best 5 on the field, offensive line-wise. Quarterback situation, not ideal right now. We'll see what happens with the Watson versus Shador battle. I have no idea. I don't even think the Browns know at this point. Receiving core isn't the worst in the league, but it's not great. But for me, my main goal as an organization is let's just get through this last year where we kind of have to hold on to the Deshaun contract. I think they can get out of it after this year if memory serves. At least it's more manageable to get out of. I still don't believe that Shador is the long-term answer. We got a great quarterback class coming up in 2027. I'm just going to use this draft to improve the offensive line, improve the weaponry. We're going to go spot by spot and just try to get the ecosystem ready for whoever we're going to get in 2027. Or maybe Shador will surprise me. I don't know. It's still on the board that he could end up being a capable starter. I don't know. But I don't think he's going to be a capable starter if we don't improve the weapons and the protection. So give me Spencer Fano. It's very safe, but I think Browns fans would be okay with it.
Yeah, I love the player. I know that Browns fans might yell about this one. It's boring, but the Browns could use a little boring. This is good boring. This is wise boring. And if you just chase exciting all the time, if you just chase ticket sales all the time, you end up with a team that doesn't really have a spine. And the Browns have sort of aged out. They had one of the best offensive lines in football 3-4 years ago, not that long ago, but the NFL moves real fast. They don't currently have that line anymore. And no quarterback is going to play super well behind their current assemblage of offensive line talent. So add another very, very good one who we both like. I think it's a wise pick.
So getting to Washington here, I don't know whether Caleb Downs' best spot in the NFL. Well, I'll say this. He's going to be good wherever he plays. But I don't know if he's going to be better as a nickel or as a safety, and I mean that as a compliment. I suspect that he's going to be an elite nickel in the league, but that being said, if you're looking at the nickel and safety situation in Washington, it's Nick Cross, it's Will Harris, and it's Mikey Sanders still. Caleb Downs could take any of those jobs. So I kind of don't care what he's going to be. I just know he's better than what we have at any of those spots. Again, I suspect that he is going to be an absolute lethal nickel in the league, like the quality type of nickel that, top tier defenses have, like Hamilton and Derwin and Eamon, where he's not built like those guys, but as far as quality of the player, I think he can be that. He could take Sanders Still's job at nickel. He could take one of the safety spots. I don't really know. He's going to be one of them. And to me, he's just such a good player that I'm going to draft him and figure it out over summer.
I have to ask you a question at this point. This is the devil's advocate part of me.
Huh?
Were you tempted by Bailey here?
No.
Not at all? Not even a whisper?
I think I see Bailey different than a lot of people. And again, Bailey's going to go quickly.
Yes.
But I don't have the grade on Bailey that a lot of other people do, where they see him as a top 3 guy. I don't.
Okay. I just
when people were saying, David Bailey's falling here, for me, no, he's not. For me, we haven't entered David Bailey range yet.
It's funny, but getting back to Downs and Saint are still in the same defensive backfield. That is going to be one of the savviest young defensive backfields in the league. Those are both extremely smart players. That'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Now, Washington fans, I think as long as they just take any defensive player that's better than what they have, they'll be okay. Like, they short up the edge room in free agency, but like they still have a lot of work to do. Just whoever the best defensive player is, I think it's going to go to Washington, unless you could argue Jeremiah Love, but they also invested in running back in the offseason, so that would just be like a gluttonous pick. But as far as like player quality value, I could see that. But really, it's just whoever's best defensive player, and to me, that's Caleb Downs. Saints at 8. This one I wrestled with a lot because there's a few different things I've been kicking back and forth in my head. I wanted to improve the edge room. You guys that followed Bootleg during the season know that I lamented the quality of the Saints edge room. Now Chase has come back and he's become a good player, but like they just didn't really have a lot of depth at edge. They weren't really getting a lot of production out of anybody besides Chase Young. So I really wanted to add to that group, but I couldn't pull the trigger on Bailey here, and Ruben Bain's already gone. So ultimately I shifted my focus to helping out Tyler Shuck and giving him something to work with, which means receiver. Question is, which receiver?
Yes.
Jordan Tyson's probably the most talented of the top 3. Mekhi Lemon, I think, is the safest of the top 3. Carnell Tate has a lot of fans. Again, I don't see him like a lot of other people do. I do think that he is a first-round player in this class, but I don't see him as a top 10 player in this class. Ultimately, I went with Mekhi Lemon because I feel like there is a very small chance of regretting that pick. With Tyson, while he might be the more talented player, I can't get over the injury history, man. Like, he just gets banged up all the time. The season only gets longer in the NFL. You're only going to get hit harder in the NFL. You're going to play in colder weather in the NFL. And until I see him be healthy for a long period of time, I understand some like kind of freaky injuries here. Until I see him be healthy for a long period of time, I'm not sure he can be. So I don't trust it. I love the talent. I like the player. But Mekhi Lemon, I think, is just a more proven, safer player who's also very good in his own right. We'll put him right in the slot there, and he's going to help out Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Lemon's going to help anywhere he goes. He is a tough son of a gun. People are worried about the speed. I'm not necessarily on tape. He did not run a great 40 because, kind of like Arvell Reese, he didn't really train to run a 40. That's pretty obvious. He was like heel striking, running a 40. Like he didn't care about that. On the field, he's fast enough. He's tough. He some of his contested catches on tape were just like, buddy, what are you doing? Like,
especially for a smaller guy.
Yeah, he is fearless. He is very solid. When we talk about small, what we're really talking about is short. He is compact and really well built. He is going to take punishment in the NFL at a high level, and he understands that. He's smart enough to get away from it. He's a guy that can get you yards after the catch. I think he's going to fit inside or outside. While he is primarily a slot guy, I do not think he is slot only, and that's an important distinction that like Matt Harmon makes. Is this guy slot only, or is he slot mostly? And I would say Lemon is definitely slot mostly, not slot only. Gives that offense some flexibility, can do some switch release stuff with Olave. Like, I love the flexibility for that offense for the young quarterback who you kind of hit on, unexpectedly, maybe not to them, but to most people last year. Like, hey, let's push the gas down with a young quarterback that's not expensive, give him some tools and see what happens.
Plus, Lemon is just my kind of receiver. Like, undersized, tough guy that doesn't care if he lives or dies over the middle. Like, you know me. Like, that's my type. So I'm going to take that every single time, which unfortunately brings us to the Chiefs, because I think a lot of Chiefs fans were hoping that Mekhi Lemon would fall. He did not here. So really, the debate is corner, edge, or Jordan Tyson. I'm going to pass on Tyson here for the same reason I just passed on him a pick ago. I can't trust him to stay healthy, unfortunately. And I have to factor that in. Like, it's a top 10 pick. Like, I can't be on pins and needles every time my 9th overall pick takes a hit. So I'm going to forego that, which means it's really about edge versus corner. You're starting to get to the David Bailey range. This is about where
Some people are
like
like, "What? We're way past it."
if I if I had nothing else available, I could do David Bailey here. But I do have something else available, and that's Mansour Delane, who to me is a better player and also at a position of need. I know they just traded away a young corner, and this team has done very well at drafting corners later in the first round or just down the board entirely and turning them into solid starters. But again, it's the 9th overall pick. I need to take a player that I'm very, very confident is going to be a high-level player for us, a Pro Bowl caliber player off the rip. And to me, that's Mansour Delane, best corner in this class.
Yeah, he's my CB1. He was my first overall gem. Took some heat for that. They're like, you can't say the best corner's a gem. I'm like, sorry, folks. I invented gems. I can say it's whatever I want. And Mansour Delane is, he is. You talked about you need the assurance that he's going to be good right now. Of all the corners available in this class, because I've been working on our stat sheets for our draft rankings for our patrons, and it's always it's a very time-consuming exercise, but to me, it's super informative because you stack all these guys up. You got 15 or so statistical categories that we think are meaningful. Snaps per reception. So snaps in coverage that he has to go before somebody gets a catch on him. I'll give you a spoiler. He leads the class.
A lot.
You want to guess at the number?
Oh, God. Does it start with a 2?
It does.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's like a catch and a half a game.
24.3 snaps in coverage before anybody gets a catch on him. That's bananas. Missed tackle rate, 10%. That's very good for a corner. He was in coverage 357 times last season. He got targeted only 35 times and allowed only 14 catches. NFL passer rating against when targeted, 31. That is like 5 points below throwing the football into the ground every snap. And people go, how does that happen? Good. Well, because he had 2 interceptions and 7 PBUs. So they were actually plus plays for the defense. So he is a fantastic player. He's got a very good frame for the position in the NFL. He's got a really solid medical history. To your point about Jordan Tyson, yes, of course something freaky can happen. It's the NFL. But when he goes out there, he's going to perform. That he is going to be a match for just about anybody you line him up against. Maybe the top 5, 8 guys in the NFL are going to have something on him. Everybody else, he played against most of those guys in the SEC. And you can go back and watch that tape. Feel pretty confident Spags is going to roll him out week 1 and be like, yeah, I know what I'm getting.
And again, I want to emphasize, I know Chiefs fans are like, this is going to be Bailey. A, maybe not.
Not for you. Yeah.
And B, I think the Chiefs see edge kind of similarly to how I see edge, which is they really like guys that have power. And Bailey had like a couple reps here and there where he showed off power, but not consistently, right? He is really more of a true speed rusher. And that archetype, unfortunately, if we're looking at the archetype of edges that miss in the NFL, it's that one. So I like David Bailey a lot as a prospect. He's going to go pretty quick here. But if I have to compare what David Bailey is for me as a grade to what Mansour Delane is as a grade, I'm not going to go down a full tier as far as grades just because they need an edge. There's a lot of day 2 edges, or later in the first round, there's edges that they can get, or receivers that they could get. But I'm not going to pass on a player like Mansour Delane just to chase positional need. Like, this team needs more than one thing. So, again, Bailey will come off the board quickly, but it's not the same kind of grade. Now, there are 2 players with very similar grades that I was stuck with the Giants. And again, the reason why I took Jeremiah Love at 5 is because I knew I was coming back at 10 and I could get something else here. The 2 players I'm debating are Sonny Styles, great linebacker, arguably the best pure off-ball linebacker in this class. Not the biggest need for the Giants, but again, if we're just trying to get the best player and somebody who could be a cornerstone for this team for a long, long time, Sonny Styles would fit that bill. Everybody loves him. The other player with an equivalent grade that I think fills a more desperate hole right now, but also makes my 5th overall pick better, is going to be Vanga Ioane. So I'm taking him at 10. I
Yeah,
am
you're
making the ecosystem around Jackson Dart as deadly as humanly possible. I'm going to have a better offensive line. I'm going to have a better run game. Ideally, I'm going to have a better pass game, too, because Neighbors is coming back healthy. I can still address receiver later in the draft. There's a bunch of day 2 and day 3 guys that we like, but I am immediately making Daniel Fa'alele irrelevant for me. He's going to be my starting right guard from day 1. He's going to amplify who I took at the 5th overall spot, and we are not going to get caught in the same situation that Saquon got caught in, where he was, a Ferrari that unfortunately had to go through speed bumps just to get out of his driveway every morning. Like, he is going to have holes to run through, and if you give Jeremiah Love holes to run through, he's going to score all in one bite.
I like it. It's basically doubling down. We talk about shotgun approach all the time in the NFL draft, and this is saying, yeah, I'm taking Love and I'm making sure he's going to be good. Same thing I said about Jackson Dart, basically just doubled. He gets better protection. One in his tape, I think when somebody is kind of the pole-to-pole leader at a position and never sort of falters throughout what is a very arduous process in draft season, I think everybody just assumes they're great at everything. And Ioane is a very, very good football player, and he is great, and I mean elite in pass pro. You watch pass pro reps against him, he is a concrete block of a wall. Nobody's coming through him. And you give up dink for pressures.
He gave up one the entire year, by the way.
Yeah, right. And if you watch that one, you're like, okay, yeah, you can hang out on him if you want to. But so many times, very talented players that he came up against just ran into him, and he doesn't even give up like a half a step. He just stands up and just completely blunts the rush. So he is elite as a pass protector. Dart's going to love that. He's not even going to look in Ioane's direction. He's just going to know that it's handled. And as a run blocker, he's got some work to do. It's not that he's not a good run blocker. He is, but in certain circumstances, he doesn't hit his target. He's got so much mass. He doesn't bend a lot. He doesn't roll his hips through. He just doesn't need to. He's just bigger and stronger than most people. And so if he lines up his target correctly, they're gone. Like, he just completely erases them. But there are times he can polish that a little bit, but right off the rip, he is an elite pass protector. And yeah, at working as a unit, working with a pro offensive line coach, he's going to polish that stuff up, and he's going to open some very big holes, because physically, one of the most imposing players at his position in this draft.
I mean, like I said, the Ioane discussion for me starts at 4. So getting him at 10, in my view, grade-wise, is value. Brings us to 11, the Miami Dolphins. And this, finally, is where I'm taking David Bailey. This is about the range that I think is more appropriate for him. Again, a little bit more of a one-dimensional player. Not even a little bit. A lot of it more of a one-dimensional player than Ruben Bain. There are some reps on tape where he shows power, but it's few and far between. He's got length. I really wish that he weaponized it more. Like Bain has much shorter arms, but showed a lot more power more consistently. I think Bailey kind of over-relied on first step quickness and snap timing and everything like that. Like, he kind of feasted on some really shitty tackles that he's just a better athlete than. Now, that being said, I do think he's a good player. I think he's going to be a solid rusher in the NFL. I didn't see top 5 talent. I didn't see somebody who could potentially be an all-pro. I think he's going to be a solid piece. I like him. I do. It's just, me. I tend to favor size and strength when it comes to edge. Also, Bain is just much better against the run, and Reese is much better against the run. So there's that too. Now, as for how he fits in Miami, him and Chop together might be the most explosive 1-2 punch as far as first steps in the NFL, because Chop's first step is absolutely nuts. Chop is also more bendy than David Bailey. I'm really curious to see how Jeff Hafley would deploy both of them. Again, who does that kind of floater Micah Parsons role? I like to think it would be more Chop, whereas Bailey is the one who's kind of running a wider arc and kind of flushing the quarterback up into Chop, having them work off of each other. The Dolphins kind of need a little bit of everything, including edge. And while Bailey, I don't think would be the star of the show, I think Batman is going to be Chop Robinson. I think Bailey would be a very high quality Robin for them. So to me, it's worth the pick.
I think they're thrilled that he ended up here because we started off sort of extolling the virtues early, September, October. Oh, the edge class, the edge class, the edge class. It's good. It's good. It's good. Right. Well, there's a lot of them, but when you really start getting into their tape and picking them apart, as is apt to happen during draft season, there's not as much there as you think. There's a lot of singular strengths and sort of narrow cones in this edge class. And I think, honestly, edge talent goes really quickly. And in this particular draft, the fact that one of the better edge rushers from a production standpoint, and I think a potential standpoint as well, he is a very good athlete. He's got good length. He's got, like you said, great first step. He does have speed around the edge. He's got tools to work with. And tools the edge rushers don't always make it out of the top 15. And so if you're the Dolphins, you might be thinking, well, we're going to be getting edge 3 or maybe even 4 here in a typical draft. And they get, maybe a guy that they had ranked, depending on what they think of his Reese, maybe a guy they had as edge 2 at 11. It's pretty good for them because, again, they need it. They need a lot of pieces, and this gives Hafley a piece I think he's going to know how to use. So I like the fit. They like the value, I think. I think the Dolphins will be thrilled to come away with David Bailey.
Again, as a recap, for those of you that came in a little bit late, we got Fernando Mendoza at 1, Arvell Reese at 2 to the Jets, Francis Mauigoa to the Cardinals at 3, Ruben Bain to the Titans at 4, Jeremiah Love to the Giants at 5, Spencer Fano to the Browns at 6, Caleb Downs to the Washington Commanders at 7, Mekhi Lemon to the Saints at 8, Mansour Delane to the Chiefs at 9, Venga Ioane at 10 to the Giants, so packaging him with Jeremiah Love, then David Bailey to the Dolphins. I do want to say, again, reiterating, this is not a predictive mock. I have no interest in predicting who's going to go where. I am not nearly well-sourced enough to get into that pool of water, nor do I want to be. I'm more interested in being right about the evaluations and being right about the players. So I understand David Bailey's not going to be there at 11. I don't think he should go higher than that, but I care more about getting the where they get drafted correctly, not the team they get drafted to correctly, if that makes sense. So anyway,
well, I'm glad you're not getting in that pool because you'd probably need a shower afterwards.
And yeah, trust me, it's a dirty game trying to be correct in mock drafts. It's not great. Sonny Styles is available at 12. I feel like they would sprint this card in and not even consider anybody else. And honestly, I'm not considering anybody else either.
Yeah, I think they're probably taking calls from the NFL going, slow down. We got ads to sell. Take your whole time. We know you're getting Styles. We won't take him away from you. We promise you get him. We got to sell ads here. Slow down. Don't turn that card in like 0.5 seconds.
He would probably be, well, he would be their best off-ball linebacker since Van Der Esch, but he might be their best off-ball linebacker since Sean Lee. Just incredible talent. 6'5", 245, extremely lean 245, which sounds like an oxymoron, but there's just no fat on this dude. He's a freaking Adonis. Incredibly talented player, former safety, converted to linebacker because he was just so damn big. Very much like a Brian Urlacher type path, being that big and athletic and converting from DB to linebacker. Is he Brian Urlacher as a player yet? No, but boy, he is rapidly improving, and he's on that kind of trajectory. Looking at the missed tackle rate going from almost 18% to 2.2% in 1 year because he realized that he was at 6'5", not going to dip low enough to stop a 5'9" running back in their tracks. So he learned how to kind of be like a high grappler as a tackler and weaponize his length to kind of get guys on the ground. The way he tackles, I kind of liken it to the people who do rodeos and they're getting a steer on the ground by the horns. That's how he tackles people. He will take a running back into the chest who's shorter than him and he might lose a yard, but he's not going to lose them. He will get them on the ground. But the advantage that he has to his size and length is that when he's taking guys or when he's tracking guys down outside the tackle box and he's kind of stopping the perimeter run game, he uses that speed and length to his advantage to make tackles that shorter guys, stockier guys might not have the range to make. So, there's give and take with it, but taking somebody who's this athletic, who's this smart, who's on this kind of development trajectory, getting them at 12 is just outstanding value to me.
Yeah, if this were to happen and the Cowboys didn't have to trade up from 12 and they still got Sonny Styles, there would be some celebrations in Frisco, that's for sure.
Rams at 13.
Frisco, Texas. Just for everybody that doesn't know that the Dallas headquarters is in a place called Frisco, Texas. I'm not thinking they're in the wrong city.
Famously not close to Arlington, by the way.
Yeah, not really even close. No.
I mean, like, as the crow flies, maybe, but traffic-wise in Dallas, not even close.
Not a thing.
Rams at 13. With Mekhi Lemon not there, my initial thought was like, okay, could I take, another receiver here, whether it's Tyson or Omar Cooper or Carnell Tate? And then I thought to myself, this team's pretty good at finding receivers outside the first round. They don't need to spend 13th overall on receiver. What I really want to avoid is the offensive line apocalypse. 80% of their offensive line are going to be free agents after this year. They're not going to be able to keep everybody. And also, they're kind of thin after their starting five. If they take a huge injury at tackle, they're kind of fucked. I'm not going to lie. And I don't really want to derail the season because, like, Warren McClendon goes down and all of a sudden we can't protect our very old immobile quarterback. Also, by the way, that quarterback is in talks to have an extension that goes beyond 2026. So all of a sudden it's not just, we're all in on this season. It's we have to start thinking about 2027 as well. And we're going to be losing 80% of potentially of our starting offensive line because we can't pay everybody. So for me, I'm zeroing in on offensive line now, which brings me to Monroe Freeling, the newest LA Ram. Ooh. Is it super exciting? No. Is it smart? Yes.
Yeah, and he's got some runway too, which he needs a little bit. Physical specimen, I'm not saying he's raw, but he also, the jumping competition is going to be a shock to him just like it is everybody else. Can he handle it physically? Oh, yes, he absolutely can. If you're looking at how NFL tackles should be built, they look a lot like Monroe Freeling. Does he have it all together yet? No, there are a lot of reps on tape where he goes, man, I thought I had that. And he will, like, give him a little bit of time, and he is going to fit in that system. It's nice that they don't necessarily have to play him right now. Yes, with an injury, he would be playing more quickly. I think he is one of those guys, if he lands in this spot, that could end up challenging for that starting job by midseason, right? After the break. That's a possibility with his talent. And then from then on, like, he's not coming off the field. So there is a very interesting thing with offensive tackles. We talked about it with Edge a little bit, where you get to a certain point and hint, hint, nudge, nudge, that point is going to be at the end of the first round and not later, where you go, if I need a guy that's going to start anytime soon, and I'm talking about within the next calendar year on an NFL team, I better get him right now. And right now is going to be sometime in the mid-20s. And after that, there's not a lot of guys I can see starting out of the gate for an NFL team that are still going to be on the board. They're just going to be gone.
And you can't get tackles in free agency. Like, you just
not
can't.
Good ones.
Not good ones. So I kind of want to address that now and save my money to keep my interior trio together, have my right tackle taken care of. And also, again, if McClendon gets hurt or if Alaric Jackson gets hurt, I don't want my season to get ruined because we're in the division round and we got David Quesenberry going against Aiden Hutchinson. Like, to me, this is protecting the all-in, nature of this season. I am making sure that one injury at tackle doesn't ruin everything. Like, we're fine at running back, we're fine at receiver, we're fine at tight end. We're not fine in offensive line depth. And offensive line depth, if people haven't paid attention, has played a pretty big role in playoff pushes in recent years. So I think this is the safer pick to protect my window, not just in 2027, but also in 2026. All right. Brings us to the Ravens at 14. He's going to go somewhere in this range. And I was trying to figure out which team in this range is going to take him. Ultimately, I landed on Baltimore. Kenyon Sadiq is now my new supercharged version of Isaiah Likely in Baltimore.
Yeah, I did a experts mock draft that somebody, Luke Easterling from Athlon Sports, asked me to do, and he said, "Here are the teams that are left," and I picked Baltimore, and he popped into my mentions the other day. I said, "Hey, you're up," and I was looking at the options, and I really wanted to take Sadiq, but Ioane was still there, and I did the eat your vegetables thing, and I took Ioane so that Lamar's life can be all the good things we said about Jackson Dark's life can be improved in Lamar's life, especially after having Daniel Falele there last year. That's I don't know that you can properly measure the distance of that upgrade, but I really wanted to take Sadiq, and here he's available. Ioane is already off the board, and if you're looking at the Ravens tight end depth, like it's the still walking shell of Andrews, and yeah, that's it.
That's about it.
Yeah, they have Smythe who played for Declan Doyle last year, but like that's it. That's all they got. They have two tight ends on the roster right now on the depth chart, and Sadiq is far different and better right now at this point in his career than either of those players. I know everybody says receiver for Baltimore, but you're really getting one. Plus, you're getting a move player. Plus, you're getting a guy that you can, do insert blocks with at a high level. Everybody knocks Sadiq's blocking. They haven't watched. Like he is an above average blocker for his size. Do you want him digging out defensive ends by himself? No, that's dumb. Don't do that. But if you want him pinning a linebacker in a run fit, he's more than capable of doing that. So I love the pick. I love the fit. I would have done it myself if Ioane hadn't been available in the mock I was in. He's not here. Very solid choice.
Now, I will expand on Carnell Tate a little bit because I know a lot of people see Carnell Tate to the Ravens as making a lot of sense because like, we need an X receiver. And some people in chat said, we need an X receiver. That's Carnell Tate. I don't think Carnell's an X in the NFL. I'm not going to lie. Again, I just, similar to Bailey, I see Tate differently than I think consensus on him. I think Tate's a number 2 in the NFL. I don't think he solves their problem at receiver. I think Kenyon Sadiq is going to give them a more dangerous matchup for who's going to be out there covering Sadiq than I think Tate against corners. Like I don't think Tate's a 1. I think Zay is more likely to be a 1 than Tate is to be a 1. I'll say that. Again, Tate's going to go off the board pretty soon here, but not to Baltimore because I think that he would not fix their issue of needing a number 1 receiver. Brings us to Tampa. Now, if Sadiq made it to Tampa, I would have considered putting Sadiq there, but he didn't. So ultimately, I'm looking at the other needs for the Bucs. Edge is a screaming, crying need for me. The top 3 guys are all gone. Well, top 2.5, I guess, depending on how you see Arvell Reese. So this is kind of the start of the range for Akeem Messidor, but I think it's justifiable here because the Bucs are a team that wants to go on a run right now. They don't necessarily care that he's an older prospect. As long as he stays healthy, which is the actual flag to me, not at his age, as long as he stays healthy, he can be a contributing edge right now and maximize their current window with Baker. I don't care that his second contract, he's going to be 30. Like, I care about the next 4 years when he's in his athletic prime. Again, has to stay healthy, but he is a developed, polished, talented edge right now, and we have him on a very cost-controlled contract, so we're kind of maximizing that rookie deal window. And considering the other options on the board, I felt like he was the best way to go.
Did your phone just ring? Because mine did. It was Trev, and all I could hear was cheering.
This is like his dream pick.
His fully adult grown son is now a Buccaneer. He couldn't be happier about it. I'm with you, and I think it fits where they are as a team. Like last year, we talked about the first round pick, Ibuka. Like they had a wide receiver core that has now sort of disintegrated in a lot of ways, and Ibuka looks really smart a year later. But at the time, everybody's like, "What are you doing?" And we said, "Hey, this is one of the safest players in the draft. They're not going to be sorry they picked him." This lines up in a different way for Tampa Bay, and I think a little bit better. They need more firepower on that defensive line. Mesidor is going to give it to him right the hell now. This is not he needs to develop or get bigger or get stronger. Nope. He's big and strong right now. Is he going to be, to use our analogy, Batman, Robin, Alfred, where's he going to be? He comes in as a very solid Robin, he might stay there. He might not improve a lot. He might improve a little bit and be a high-end Robin. That's okay. You need Robins as pass rushers in the NFL. It's very rare you get two Batmen. Like it just doesn't happen very often, right? I know it happens all the time in the comics. Doesn't happen very often in the NFL.
Or
So
it happens
you
in
need,
Houston, but that's about it.
yeah, right. You need complementary rushers, and he's going to be really good right now. Like he's going to take snaps as a starting edge in their very first game and be effective. And you need that. So again, you're not at the top of the board. It's not as strong an edge group as we thought it was. This is still good territory. I do not consider this a reach. Like this is a good fit with need. Line it up, and as long as they're comfortable with his medical dossier, good to go.
Brings us to the Jets at 16 on the PFSN mock draft simulator. Now, PFSN has Carnell Tate as player 4. I don't know if that's their grades or if that's just the aggregate grades from people doing mocks. I'll have to get clarifications from them on how that number landed. I disagree. I'll just say that. Carnell Tate's not the 4th best player in this class. But I'll take him to the Jets at 16 because he can play, I think, his best role, which is being a very solid, reliable number 2 receiver in the NFL. Garrett's going to be my true number 1. Garrett has the talent to be a true number 1. A.D. Mitchell, who knows? He's our lotto pick, fun, splashy number 3, where it's kind of an adventure when the ball's in the air if he's actually going to catch it. But Carnell Tate is going to catch the ball. He's going to be good for like 4 catches for 55 to 60 yards every single game. All of them are going to be first downs. Like, I think he's a good route runner. I don't think he's an elite route runner, but I think he's a good route runner. I think he's a good athlete, not an elite athlete. I think he's a good separator, not an elite separator. He's just a very solid, all-around player. I think he is a classic number 2 receiver in the NFL, somebody you can rely on to be at the right place at the right time. He's not going to fuck up his assignment. He's just going to be an okay, solid piece. And in this draft class, I think that's probably what the Jets can hope for at 16. I think given the players still on the board, they'll probably take some phone calls for teams that want to come up and jump Detroit for a tackle. I'm not doing trades in this mock. I'd be willing to bet that they will end up trading in the actual draft for somebody who's going to come up and jump Detroit. Hell, Detroit might even move up 1 spot to stop a team from doing that because everybody knows Detroit's going to take a tackle. But for me, without trades here, I think Carnell Tate is the safest, most reliable, justifiable pick at 16.
Okay, 3 things. 1, I like Carnell Tate better than you. I'm now very clear on that fact. 2, I'm glad you said he'll catch the ball because you know what his drop rate was this year?
It's got to be close to 0.
No, it's not close to 0. It is 0.
Yeah.
It's 0.0%. The Blue Tarski did not record a drop this year. And I'll tell you this, and this is a roundabout way. If you're trying to get information about a team, it's not really smart necessarily to call a team and ask them what they're going to do or how they feel about something because they're not very likely to tell you. They don't have any reason to. It's way better if you call a different team and say, hey, have you heard anything about third team doing this or that or making any motion or taking any calls? So that's what I did. And I asked about the Jets and I said, hey, have you heard if actually a 4th team, not the team this person worked for, called the Jets, right? Poking around, trying to trade up for exactly the scenario you talked about, trying to jump Detroit for a tackle because that's a very likely scenario. And they said, and I quote, won't say. Not can't say.
The only 2 words you got?
Not don't know, won't say. Which to me was like, okay, cool. Probably happened. Neat. Moving on. So yeah, those are my 3 points about Carnell Tate. I think he's gonna be a lot of fun in New York. Gino's eyes just lit way up. Come on, Garrett and Tate. Like, even if you don't have the highest opinion of Tate, like that's a pretty solid receiving core considering where he came from last year. I was gonna say last week, but
I think he's good. Again, I have him as the 16th overall pick, guys. I don't see like Cleveland at 6. I don't have that kind of grade on him. I think he's a very solid number 2 in the NFL. He'll do his job. He'll catch the damn ball. which might be an upgrade over AD Mitchell. Honestly, like I loved AD coming out of college. He's
I
just gonna
know.
catch the ball.
Which is why I feel, slightly warmed in my heart that you're not super high on D. I'm like, he loved AD Mitchell. I'm okay with him not liking the guy that I really like. That's fine.
We'll always have 2024 or 2023 Texas AD Mitchell. We'll always have that.
Okay.
Might not see it again, but
yeah, you and Trev can sit around and reminisce.
Detroit is on the clock. But again, for people that just showed up, I want to recap the first 16 here on the PFSN Mock Draft Simulator. Mendoza at 1, obviously. Reese at 2 to the Jets. Mawanoa at 3 to the Cardinals. Bain at 4 to the Titans. We packaged Jeremiah Love and Venga Ioane to the Giants at 5 and 10. Spencer Fano at 6 to the Browns. Downs at 7 to Washington. Mekhi Lemon is a Saint. Mansour Delane is a Chief. David Bailey, quote-unquote, allegedly fell all the way to Miami. Sonny Styles did fall to Dallas. Monroe Freeling to L.A., which this might be the first time Freeling's been mocked to L.A. anywhere. Kenyon Sadiq is a Raven. Akeem Mesidor is a Buccaneer, and Cardinal Tate is a Jet. So, EJ, which tackle are the Lions taking here at 17?
Well, the fact of how this draft is played out, they have they have a decent array of tackles. We talked about this on the Blue Chip episode that just dropped over on the Bootleg channel. Like, I don't think, like you said, this is not a predictive mock of what you think is going to happen. This is the what you would do mock. In the real world on Thursday night, I think tackles are going to go off the board like hotcakes. I do not think Detroit is going to have this much choice. Now, can they get a tackle at the spot? I bet they can. Are they going to have this many choices available to them? I would be stunned if they had this many choices left on the board at this time.
Yeah, I think there's going to be multiple trades ahead of them.
Yeah, I agree.
But in this magical dream scenario where they have a whole bunch of names available, ultimately, I went with Blake Miller. Very experienced player, over 50 starts, durable, polished, very good athlete. I don't necessarily think he's as good as he tested athletically, but I liked his athleticism on tape. And he's just ready to go right now. He can start right now, be reliable right now. And I think for Detroit, who they still consider themselves in a window to make a push here, they don't want to have to develop anybody, right? So Iheanacho, I think, is a more talented player. I don't know if they really want to develop Iheanacho right now. I think they want somebody who can play immediately, which is really just going to be Lomu or Miller out of the available options. Ultimately, I went with Blake Miller.
Yeah, Blake is one of those guys that is a rare bird in college these days in terms of has 4 straight years of starting experience, over 500 snaps every single year for the last 4 years. Usually you see guys come on at the end of their college career. They might start warming up as a sophomore, but occasionally you get this guy, usually an offensive lineman, came in as a freshman, won the job, been there ever since. And that's Blake Miller. Very good frame for the position, 6'7", 317, 34-inch arms. Again, very polished, good athlete. Reminds me of some previous Detroit tackles. So in terms of type, that Dan Campbell has enjoyed having on his offensive line, I think he would fit right in.
Also, yes, this does mean that Penei Sewell will convert to left, which seems
Correct.
to be what they want to do. So
yeah, they already sort of spoiler alerted that one at the owners' meetings, like, hey, we're thinking about this. And Trevor, I think, said on the last Blue Chip episode that's really so that you can look at this tackle class, which is heavy with right tackles, very few true left tackles in this class, and say, yeah, we wanted to pick a right tackle all along.
Do I even need to say what the Vikings are going to take at 18, EJ?
No, you should. You should surprise me. Surprise me.
It's really not. This was actually the first pick that I filled out. I kind of built the draft around this because it's such a lock.
Jerk.
Dylan Thieneman is a Minnesota Viking.
Yeah.
I've kind of had this belief since, I don't know, January, and I have yet to come off of it. If he is on the board, Dylan Thieneman is going to be in Minnesota. And it's not even the whole white athletic safety. It's Harrison Smith. It's not even that. Just in a vacuum, He is probably their best remaining player, also at a position of need. Can play multiple spots for them. Incredibly rangy, smart, great tackler. Oregon last year built their third down package around what Ohio State, or one of their third down pack, not the only third down call, but they had this package where they put Thieneman as like the three safety look. They had him as the whole player in Tampa, and they kind of built that based off of what Ohio State did with Caleb Downs. And anytime they got into a long yardage situation, they would basically present this front where they're like, go ahead, run the ball. Like, we're daring you to run the ball. And because they knew that Thieneman was just going to be a problem solver and shoot from like 12 yards off the line of scrimmage and make the tackle and make them correct. So he plays the run really well. He's also a really rangy free safety. I understand why people give the Harrison Smith comps, but like legitimately, he's a great player. So 18, I think, is the latest he's going to go.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would like to see him fall to another team that I actually root for, but instead I'm going to get to see him twice a year across the line of scrimmage. Great pick for Minnesota. In terms of Thieneman, like, people tend to think of him one way or another, and he's not. He is one of the most well-rounded players, and I don't mean safety. He's one of the most well-rounded players in this draft. 72 tackles last year. That led all safeties and nickels of a high draftable grade this year. 436 coverage snaps. We talked about Mansour Delane's snaps per reception. You know what Dillon's is?
Ooh, it might be close.
It's really close. 22.9, only 2 snaps away from freaking Mansour Delane. So he's a tackling menace. His missed tackle rate, second lowest in this class at 8.3, which is incredibly low for a safety. Again, guys coming from 10 and 12 yards, full speed, trying to break down and make tackles. Usually their missed tackle rate is higher than that. 434 snaps in the box, 237 at free safety, and 118 in the slot. So I don't really care where you play him. I don't care whether you're deploying him to stop the run or the pass, or whether you can put him anywhere in the secondary. He's proved he's going to be effective. He's got great size, 6 foot, 201. He's fast. He's very smart. He was beloved at that Oregon program. Hanging out for the Oregon Pro Day, it was very, very obvious that, like, everybody, Lanning, all of his teammates were, they're going to miss him. He was a leader there. You can just tell that stuff when you hang out there all day. And I mean, obviously on the field, people are going to gravitate to guys that get it done. And Dylan Thieneman got it done in every possible way last year.
Brings us to Carolina at 19.
I hate that he's a Viking. Let's just put that out.
He's going to be. Just accept it now.
I know. I did a long time ago, but I still hate it.
And if he's not a Viking, he's going to be a Panther, but he's off the board here.
That would be okay.
You can only see it once every couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Rasheed Walker's left tackle for Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They got him somehow at $4 million a year. Still don't really know how that happened.
That's absolute witchcraft. That's wild.
So their tackle situation is okay right now. It might be catastrophic next year. So for me, I'm like, okay, can I get a high upside tackle that is a developmental player that I don't have to play right now, but even if he does have to play right now, like, we can manage through it. We'll develop him. And that's how I ultimately landed on Maxi Iheanacho, who I think is a perfect fit for this situation. I think it's the best fit for Iheanacho as well, because he might not have to play immediately. But if we can get him up to speed quickly, like, sure, maybe he could push for a starting role. Maybe he can push Sheed. I don't know. But it kind of feels like they envision Sheed, being a long-term option for them at left. And I think Iheanacho could be a long-term option for them at right. And then you just have your tackles taken care of. So for me, I think this is a kind of a hand-in-glove fit.
I love it. For the Panthers especially, Iheanacho, one of my favorite upside players in this entire draft. And he's not bad now, considering how little tackle he's played. I think he's a lot better than people think he is. And the athletic ceiling is off the charts. You don't find guys at his size that move like him. You just don't. They're very, very rare. So if you get a chance to take one and you don't have to play him right away, that seems an ideal situation. If he does have to get on the field this year, I don't think people are going to be upset. We are
I
about
have
to
to
double
remove
the
him
number.
real quick.
We're about to double the number of people watching the stream. Cat stuff. Bo. Bo makes an appearance. Anyways, Max Hanachor, um, standing on the field at the combine, watching him move, it is very obvious that he played other sports growing up before football. And that movement skill plus the power, he is going to be, I think, a top 1/3 starting tackle in the NFL within, I would say, 2 to 3 years.
I think it's a fair assessment. So, 20. Intrigue here.
I was going to say, I'm fascinated by this. After having a gift drop into their lap at 12, now what?
How about another gift?
Well, sure.
TJ?
What's better than one gift?
A report had came out earlier today that Tennessee corner Jermon McCoy, this is from Todd Pelissero, said doctors are concerned he will need another surgery to replace a bone plug used to repair a cartilage defect in his knee. The concerns are not about his surgically repaired ACL. You know who happens to be the foremost expert on that surgery?
The Cowboys
Dr.
team
Cooper
doctor
in Dallas. You know who happens to be the team doctor for the Dallas Cowboys? Dr. Cooper in Dallas. If anybody, honestly, is going to have insight into Jermon McCoy's knee and how to fix it and how likely it is to fix it, it's going to be him. And as far as quality of player, dropping this late in the first round, there is nobody, absolutely nobody, who even comes close to Jermon McCoy. So I'm going to trust the Dallas team doctors to fix Jermon McCoy, and I'm going to have potentially a lethal secondary, just a lethal defense overall. Again, we got Sonny Styles at 12, Jermon McCoy at 20. If Cowboys fans are upset about that, I'm sorry. There's nothing else I could do for you.
Yeah, as long as he's on the field. Again, Cowboys corners and injuries have kind of gone together like peanut butter and chocolate for the last couple of years, which is not great for them. I'm sure Reese's loves it, but in terms of a talent, like McCoy's tape from last year is very, very good, high-level corner tape. And if he is healthy, and I would agree with you here that, this is probably the best situation for him.
Now I have to remove Foster.
Yes, Brett does have two cats that look identical. They are brothers, Bo and Foster. So now they've both been removed. Kicked from the crib,
three. I just
as
kicked
it
Little
was.
out too.
Little does not look like the other two, for those of you not familiar with Brett's cat lore. But no, I'm with you. The best chance for his to know whether or not they can deal with the knee. The thing Pelissero said, or maybe it was another commenter about the injury, is if it has to be fixed, he will miss a prolonged period of time. It's not going to be, it's just a cleanup and he's back in a month or two. Like he could miss a significant portion of time. So if they're comfortable that either he's going to come back 100% healthy after that, and you're getting the surplus value of getting a player you would not normally ever touch at 20 because of that, cool. Or if they think, hey, there might be a way to manage this without doing the full meal deal because their doctor says so, and he can be healthy on the field. If he is healthy and on the field, it is an absolute steal.
Steelers at 21. Spoiler alert, it's not Ty Simpson. I would not do that to Hawkeys.
I was going to say, you have a vested interest in your own health.
I also wouldn't do that to Tree. I feel like any Steelers fan that I know, I'm not going to do that to him.
That's true.
Will the actual Steelers take Ty Simpson at 21? I have no idea. I hope not. I don't think so. I don't know so. So we'll see. But I will not be doing it because, again, this is a what I would do mock.
Yeah.
And what I would do is plan for, apparently, the imminent departure of Alex Highsmith. There's been a lot of smoke about him getting traded. And we know that they want to keep Herbig. I also don't see Herbig as an every down edge. I think that they want to pay Herbig a 2-scale deal to be like a very high-end Alfred Robin type, right? Our DPR that we bring in on third down. They like to play all three edges on third downs at the same time. And I think that, they want to move Highsmith and and maybe draft another edge that can round out that 3 edge trio that they have always seemingly liked to have. So I'm looking at the available edges here. And again, this is somebody that I am higher on than most. In fact, on PFSN, he is the 43rd player on their board. But this is appropriate value to me, and that is TJ Parker from Clemson. I am a TJ Parker fan. Why? He has length and power. You guys know my type. I love edges that have length and power. He does have fluidity. He does have explosion, but like primarily, like he has power. That is the foundation of his rush, and that's a pretty damn good foundation to have. Again, I'm not like super big on a lot of the edges in this class. I'm not as big on them as I thought I would be after first starting this draft process. But I still do think that there's a lot of solid guys available, and TJ Parker is probably the best one.
Okay, before I talk about Parker, I had a little spark of inspiration while you were talking about trading Highsmith, because I was like, oh, brain wandered off to like, oh, where would he go? I'm going to put the fear of God in you.
Huh.
Schneider trades for Highsmith.
Ooh, we know he does fit them.
Yeah, we know they've been poking around. So the Seahawks have been looking.
They don't have a lot of picks, though. What would he give up?
32, probably.
Oh, I'm not giving 32 for Highsmith. I'm out on that.
Well, if he could do less, sure, but you're right. They only have like 4 picks. So regardless of the pick, I was thinking more about the fit than the appropriate value. We know that the Seahawks have been poking around looking to trade for an edge. Because they lost a couple, and again, they're future-proofing, and they want waves of rushers. That's what that defense is built off of, and I had not thought about that particular fit since the Highsmith news broke, and I'm just thought about it for the first time and went, oh, boy, that would be nasty, because
it'd be a great fit.
He'd fit right in. Yeah, that'd be something else. On to TJ Parker. Yes, length and power. That long arm lockout with good solid lean. He basically sets his hips and pushes with one arm, keeps the other arm free. Classic power profile. I think he does have some room. I think he's got some runway, some ceiling. He's not completely finished yet as a rusher. I don't know how big that window for improvement is. Like, he's good now. He has a very strong base, and he has the base that continues to work as a rusher, even if you don't have anything else. So that's the good news. Very solid floor player, if you're talking about that. The ceiling, I'm not sure it's that much higher above where he is now. So I think any team that drafts him, wherever they draft him, and most likely you're probably going to have to draft him in the first round, is going to have to just kind of deal with that reality of like, we like what we're getting right now. He's athletic. He's strong. He's got good length. He plays with power. He knows how to set an edge, which is a very valuable quality. We talked about that with Matt Bowen a couple of years ago, how important that is, even if it's not sexy work. And they just might not get like astronomical pass rush production out of him, like possibly ever.
There's a raging debate in the comments about what Highsmith is worth, and everybody has a disagreement about it.
No, well,
nobody has the same value of Alex Highsmith.
I'm just here to throw hand grenades. You know me. That's my real role here, is just pull the pin and go.
2027 first, probably a second.
You figure it out. Yeah, he's a very good player. I think he is underrated generally in the NFL landscape. If you're listing off like very talented pure pass rushers, I think Highsmith doesn't come up probably soon enough based on what he's already accomplished.
So Chargers at 22. Is this the highest graded pure player on the board? I'm not sure, but he's close. It's like within the range where it's arguable, and it's just a position that I'm really tired of the Chargers being bad. So bring me Emmanuel Pregnon, the man that made me fall out of this very same chair.
Yes.
I got to scroll down. Where is he?
Wow,
he's 49 on the PFSN board.
I've seen him in the 40s quite a bit, and I think that's a very popular place for him, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's a guard, quite frankly. But I was doing stacking for internal offensive line over the weekend, and so I went back and did rechecks on all these guys, because some of them I watched quite a while ago. So I rewatched Basantis, I rewatched Venga, I rewatched Pregnon, I rewatched, Slaughter, a lot of these guys, just to kind of get the stack right, and then looked at a bunch of different resources and sort of shaped my board and put my stack together for our draft rankings. I don't agree with where most people have Pregnon. I'm higher on him than most folks. And watching the tape, I thought, am I crazy? And they're all sane. I finished the tape. I was like, nope, I'm sane. I like it. I am perfectly happy with taking Emmanuel Pregnon in the first round. Now, whether it's the Chargers or whether it's the aforementioned Seahawks at 32, like, I think there's a spot for him, and I would be so comfortable doing it. He is such a good football player.
I'm just an absolute ass kicker as a run blocker, which I'm pretty sure this team wants to run the absolute shit out of the ball with Mike McDaniel and Amari and Hampton and all that. I think Venga, you want is a better pass protector. You could argue that Pregnon's a better run blocker. So it really just kind of, what flavor do you want? But you're not really going to go wrong taking a very, very, very good guard in the first round. That's one of the position groups that hits the most in the first round. So very safe pick. It's kind of an eat your vegetables pick, but I like it a lot. Now, Eagles at 23. Likely that A.J. Brown's getting traded. A lot of people are floating it's going to be for a first rounder, 2027 first rounder after June 1st. Specifically to the Patriots. So for me, I when I was first doing this mock last week, again, the Dexter Lawrence trade kind of blew it up, but then the AJ Brown news blew it up again, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get the heir apparent for Lane. Like I'm gonna go Proctor, or I'm gonna go Ihanator, or something like that. Somebody that can develop and be my right tackle of the future. Somebody that doesn't have to play right now. And then I was like, oh shit,
oh shit,
they need a receiver. So this is kind of the spot that I naturally landed on for Jordan Tyson, where I felt like it started to become worth the injury risk.
Mm-hmm.
Because what else are they going to get at 23 that's that good? Especially with the Ihanator off the board. And, do I feel comfortable with Caden Proctor as a player right now? No. Do I feel comfortable with Jordan Tyson as a player right now? Yes. Do I feel comfortable with Jordan Tyson's injuries? No. But I feel more comfortable about Jordan Tyson's durability than I do about Caden Proctor as a player, if that makes sense. So of the two risky players, which is kind of what you're going to get at 23, there's no perfect prospect down here. I felt better about gambling on Tyson at 23 and having my option, my post AJ Brown option now, than gambling on Proctor.
Yeah, and if there is a team that is comfortable taking high picks with injury history profiles, it's the Eagles. We're talking about Landon Dickerson, Jahad Campbell, Nakobe Dean. Like they will take guys that have spotty injury histories if they feel comfortable with it. So Jordan Tyson lines up perfectly in that way. And yes, if AJ Brown is indeed on the move, they are going to need to replace his production. I, for one, think Devonta Smith is a bona fide number one and will blossom without having the somewhat of a distraction to sort of, hey, we have to feed AJ the ball all the time. And I think that's a good situation, but that's also a good situation for Tyson. If you do not have to come in and be the default number one, because Devonta Smith is really going to be that guy for the most part, you can be yourself and a very good version of that. Jordan Tyson, extremely talented wide receiver. If he can stay healthy, doesn't necessarily have to shoulder the load. It's way cheaper than AJ Brown, which also works for the Eagles because they have lots of talented players. They've drafted very well, and that bill will eventually, after 6 billion void years come due, So I like it. I think it's a good pick, and it lines up with reality, which this mock doesn't have to do, but occasionally it's nice when it does.
Chat, can I confirm that you guys can hear us now after you guys closed and reopened the window? Just making sure. Because I didn't touch anything. I don't know how that happened. YouTube.
Well, it's like Trev's camera. It just shuts off after an hour. You got to turn it back on.
Cleveland at 24. So again, I came into this mock with two goals. That was improve protection and improve weapons. I improved protection with Spencer Fano. Right now I'm going to improve weapons with Omar Cooper Jr. very, very safe receiver prospect. Can play inside, can play outside, but I think his best fit is just kind of being that domineering physical slot player, blocks his ass off in the run game, great hands, super tough kid. Is he like a dynamic vertical threat? Like, he's not like Malik Neighbors, but like, he can scoot, he can get down the field for me. I love him as like an all-rounder, that Robert Woods type,
Yeah.
that Sean McVay-y type of receiver. Like, I think his
Yeah.
range starts at 13 with the Rams, honestly. Like, if they really do want to go receiver, I'd probably give them Cooper over Tyson and Tate. So I really do like the profile of Amari Cooper Jr. I think he is what works in the NFL right now. And again, if we're just trying to hit doubles here for Cleveland, I got 2 doubles in a row.
Yeah, he's good at a lot of things. He's the receiver I always forget about, and it's not because he's not good. Like that's not the reason. It's because he's good at a lot of things. And when I'm thinking about this receiver class, I'm thinking about superlatives like, oh, who's the best slot? Who's the best route runner? Who's the biggest guy outside? Who's the jump ball threat? Who's the speed merchant? And like you said, he's well built. He's fast enough. He runs good routes. He runs middle of the routes. He runs outside. Like, he does all of the things. And I really do think because of that, he's very Ramsey. And I would not be at all surprised if he ended up in Los Angeles for that reason. But here, obviously, they went offensive line. It is a value. I tend to forget about him, but I like the fit. They definitely have a need there, and I think he's better than a lot of what they have in that wide receiver room right now.
That was a great cork sound, by the way.
That was a loud cork sound. Yeah, that was amazing. Oh, very quality cork sound.
Tell you, man. The Irish know how to make good corks. What can I say?
I mean, it's not like they have a city name. Oh, wait.
I literally got this bottled in cork. So
you got to live up to the hype, man. Like, if you're a bottle of Irish from a city called Cork and your cork sound is weak, like, you're not going to last.
All right, Bears are on the clock. Who do you think I'm taking? I'm curious.
Of the board that's left, ooh. Let's see, value-wise. I mean, one logical option is, one logical option is McDonald. I don't love it. Would he fit? Yes. Do I think he's a great value here? I don't. Very good player, not a great value at 25 for me. I sneaky like the fit of Colton Hood. But if we're sitting there in the chair, as we will be sitting in these chairs on Thursday night, and this scenario plays out, and I had to bet $50 on who they were going to pick, again, not who you were going to pick, but who the Bears were going to pick, I would say Keldrick Falk at this point.
Entirely different side of the ball. And you and I have discussed this week, where the Bears are more in play for tackle than we thought.
I agree. And there are tackles on the board here, which is nice.
There are tackles on the board.
It's not the tackle I want, but so that's why I'm staying away from it, because tackle I want.
Ozzy Trapillo is coming off a devastating injury. I'm not sure he's going to play in 2026 at all.
Yeah. I
don't think they're super enthusiastic about all of their other non-Darnell Wright tackles. Like, Jed Wills was just kind of a throwaway contract. Like, I don't think they feel good about going into the season with either Theo or Braxton as their starting left tackle, because it's not going to be Ozzy, who's better than those guys. But again, he's coming off a torn patellar tendon, a ruptured patellar tendon. So it's like,
I know where you're going with this. I don't love it.
I have to.
I know you
also, I like the player.
I know you like him more than I do. Yeah, you do.
Caleb Lomu. I think this is appropriate value for him. And also, I don't want the Bears season ruined because they don't have a real answer at left tackle. And they had one with Ozzy. They don't have Ozzy now. They might never have Ozzy again.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not discounting any of that. I know they like the player. I have heard, again, I can't tell the veracity of this. I don't know that it's for sure. I have heard that they want a left tackle if they draft one, they want a left tackle who can start from day one. They do not want a project. Right? All of these things I've shared with you. It doesn't mean I love the result, which is Lomu to the Bears. Lomu is a fine pass protector. I have deep reservations about him in the run game. And like Ben Johnson is a run first coach. I know people think it starts with the pass with him. It doesn't. It starts with the run. He loves the run game dearly. And Lomu does not love the run game dearly. That is very clear from his tape. He has a lot of work to do as a run blocker. So this would be a compromise. And look, it's the bottom end of the first round. It's 25. And you get what you can get, but it would be a serious organizational compromise to say, oh, we're going to take a left tackle who really does not love run blocking at all, just because we're not happy with the combo platter of Theo and Braxton Jones and Jed Wills and anybody else that we might try and throw up there.
I'm not as concerned about his run blocking as you are. I think he's tall. I think he's learning. I think he's figuring it out.
Oh, okay. I think that's generous.
I think people
really
saw
do.
Ozzy the same way, and Ozzy learned.
I did not see Ozzy the same way. Ozzy got after it a little bit in the run game. Caleb does not. He occasionally, like you said with Bailey, right? This is the same argument you made about Bailey. Occasionally you see it. Occasionally it lines up. Occasionally he looks interested. And you're like, ooh, okay. And then you wait 25 more snaps, 30 more snaps, and you might see 1/3 of that happen again. In the run game. In the pass game, very polished player, good mover, very, very solid in the pass game. Like a good pass protecting left tackle. And that has real value in the NFL. I'm not debating any of that. You know me. Like if you're not a glass eater on the offensive line, I have issues. And I have issues with Lomu, and he may well be the pick. If he's here, I believe he probably would be actually the pick.
And I'll say this, I understand people wanting defensive tackle. I understand people wanting edge. Like you could talk me into some of the edges here. It's just I know there's more edges that I like on day 2. I don't think any of the tackles that I like on day 2, which is really just like 2 of them, they're not going to get to the Bears in round 2. Like they got lucky that Ozzy was there last year. Same thing is not going to happen this year. Tiernan's going to be long gone. Your next best option after that's probably Bowery as far as like true tackles, but he's got some medical stuff. Dunker's probably going to be a guard. So it's like, this is the last stop on the train, folks.
I know.
Like, we got to get one now. And as far as DTs, you know what day 2 has a shitload of? Defensive tackles.
Yeah, and safeties. So they want to come out of this with a corner, a safety. They definitely need help along the defensive line. Just insert defensive line player here. Could be an edge, could be a defensive end, could be a defensive tackle. Like all of those things are in play for the Bears. And yes, you're not going to get a tackle of this quality later on. It's this particular tackle and his fit in the run game. And somebody said, first time I've heard of a, Samoan being called weak in the run game. He's not weak. He is really strong. He is just disinterested. He does not love the run game. Like it is not a passion of his. It's like graphic design is my passion. Like run blocking is my passion. No, it's not. It's not. It's clearly not.
If there's one psychopath that I think could get that out of him, it's Ben Johnson.
Dan Roshar. I hope it's Dan Roshar. Better be.
I think the key takeaway here is that the Bears are like low-key kind of fucked.
It's not great. Now, team trade down, sure. If you can find somebody that wants to come up and take, presumably Lomu or some other tackle, the tackles that are left, or some other player, right? Somebody is hot for, I don't know, Chris Johnson, whatever. You have to have a trade partner, right? Somebody's got to want to come up. That would be great because the player the Bears are going to get at, say, 35 or even 40 or 42 is not that much different than the player they're getting at 25. They're not going to get a tackle, right? They're not going to get a starting left tackle. But if they have, desires for other players, and look, they need a lot of help on defense. DA, I know, has been pounding the table for defense, and rightfully so. It was not great last year. It got covered up a lot by the fact that they had so many turnovers. We all know that that's going to regress to the mean a little bit. They need a lot of help on defense. They could use the extra picks, but short of being able to trade down, if you have to stick and pick at 25, there aren't a ton of great scenarios.
No.
They're just
like you're kind of hoping Emmanuel McNeil Warren. You know?
I am. I think they're looking at the safety board very much like you're looking at the defensive tackle board and going, hey, man, there's plenty of good safeties we can get in round 2, in round 3. Like down the board, we can get good safeties. And that's true in this draft. There are many players they could get. So I don't think they're prioritizing safety in round 1, regardless of how I feel about Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I like him as a player very much. I don't think they're targeting safety in round 1. So that literally brings it down to like, well, it's either an edge with a lot of potential. That would be Falk because the physical profile is catnip for guys like Dennis Allen. A corner, because corner is a low-key need too. If you look at the depth chart, they're one injury away from, that's not great. So a guy like Colton Hood could be there. And then left tackle. And I don't love the left tackle option. I probably, of those 3 players, if we're talking about Falk, Hood, and Lomu, like I would probably pick Hood. Just if we're going BPA, like I like Colton Hood better than either of the other 2 players at their position.
I'm curious to see your thoughts on this Buffalo pick. First of all, it's offensive line because I want to keep the identity of this team strong. People think the identity is Josh Allen. It's really not. The identity is having the biggest, toughest, meanest offensive line that they could possibly put together, just opening chasms for Cook and just running the shit out of the ball and controlling the line of scrimmage and controlling the clock. So I want to lean into that. I want to get a guard. This player didn't play guard in college. That's Caden Proctor. I'm thinking about converting him to left guard and immediately filling that spot and having 2 guards that weigh minimum 350 pounds. How does that sound?
Oh, my God. It sounds like a very long day if you're an opposing defensive lineman. Like a very long day because Caden Proctor is a massive human being. In fact, so massive that most people in the NFL's concern about him is that he keeps his weight down, not up. Like they want him at 350 or maybe even a little bit lower. Even at the weight he played at, his movement skills for a guy of his size are like, no, you keep checking your notes. You're like, he weighs what? No, he does not. He can't move like that if he weighs probably 65 during the season. Like,
and that's down 25 pounds.
I know.
He topped out at 390 as a playing weight, and he got down to 350 for the combine.
Right. And still is a huge human being, does not struggle for power at all. So in terms of that discussion we had earlier about guard to tackle conversion, like, yeah, he likes punching people and he can roll over some folks. And again, he's just bigger than almost everybody. So he's going to be able to win with that while he works on his technique. He does not have great bend. Like, I have concerns about Caden Proctor, especially at tackle. I have less concerns about him at guard because more of his, we're just going to call them natural gifts, are going to come into play more quickly.
And if he keeps his weight down and he develops, he potentially gives us an option at tackle if one of our guys go down, which they have 2 massive tackles as well. They just like giant offensive linemen in Buffalo. So he does give me some positional flexibility there. All right. Yeah. San Francisco at 27. The Trent extension. There's a lot of shit that threw wrenches into my mock in the last 48 hours. That was one of them.
Yep.
So I kind of zeroed in on receiver after the extension because it feels like A, there's no tackles left. But
yeah,
B,
there's that.
I kind of feel like they signed Trent because they realized there wasn't going to be any tackles left. So they're like, oh, shit, we got nothing. So I zeroed in on receiver here. And I tried to channel my inner Kyle Shanahan of like, who's like the most Kyle Shanahan-y type receiver?
Yeah.
And that was Casey Conception. Great separator, special teams value. He's going to be wide receiver 4 as a rookie, but he's going to be my top return man as a rookie.
Yes.
And if somebody goes down, if somebody gets a little bit too close to the power station, he can pop in and be a starter for us also as a rookie.
Yeah, and they're also going to have some package stuff for him. I mean, an offensive mind like Shanahan and the sort of diabolical route combinations that he draws up to pull people apart, he's going to have some like, hey, Casey, come here. Like, I need you to do this one thing. And he's going to do it really well. Like, Concepcion is not just, I know a lot of people started off the process and thought he was just a big play guy. He's just small. He's just fast. Like, no, he's good in and out of breaks. And people, oh, drops. He has too many drops. He had too many drops this year. Absolutely. Look at the drops. Like, drops are noise. If you listen to Matt Harmon, they don't really affect the overall part that the receiver does. Like the lost potential of drops does not negatively, for the most part, take away from what they're still doing. And he also made a bunch of really nasty contested catches. So he can, most of it's concentration, some of it's hand technique, but I'm not really worried about the drops. Very versatile and a high level separator. Like, he can pull away from guys at the break. He can pull away with speed. He has multiple ways to win. And those are receivers who are going to do our really, really well. Because if you take away the one thing that they're good at, they still have something else. They have another leg to stand on. And he's got two very good ones. That guy can roll with the ball in his hands.
One of the three best punt returners statistically in college football last year. I think Wetjen from Iowa was like the only one who was like really, really like eclipsed him by a lot. Which Wetjen had like a ridiculous punt return season, but Concepcion is legit weapon on special teams.
So just think of Jen as very small. It's wee Jen.
Oh, it's wee Jen?
It's wee Jen.
Oh.
So every time you think of him, just think of him as
copy.
Think of him as tiny. It's wee Jen.
Speaking of also could be Niners receivers.
Yo, 100%. And returner and Swiss Army knife. He's a fun player. Like, he's an interesting guy. He's not going to go until day 3, but like, interesting player.
Texans at 28. So
I
haven't been able to get it out of my head since we did it with Robert Mays with the Athletic.
Yeah. I had a feeling that one might stick or leave a mark or both.
It just makes so much sense, man. Jacob Rodriguez is going to be a Texan. People don't realize this. They have
I hate you so deeply.
Linebackers that are free agents after 2026.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite player in the draft.
He's so D'Amico coded. Like he is such a D'Amico type of linebacker that is just an absolute relentless psychopath. Like, he will follow the ball until his legs fall off. And if there's one thing that this defense does, it is swarm to the ball. They play 100 miles an hour. Like, all they do is just run cover 1 and cover 3. And they're like, just do your assignment and kill shit. And, like, that is what Jacob Rodriguez does. Like, he's such a perfect fit. I think he could start over Henry To'oTo'o, and he gives them a reliable long-term option because, again, they have 4 guys that are going to be free agents.
Yeah, no, you don't have to sell me on Rodriguez. You don't have to sell me on the fit, other than the fact that, man, I would like him a lot more in Chicago, but not necessarily at 25. If D'Amico Ryans gets his hands on this guy, the Texans defense doesn't have many holes, and he will take To'oTo'o's job in short order. And I say that sort of reluctantly because, literally D'Amico picked Henry To'oTo'o as his handpicked, you remind me of me, middle linebacker. You're going to work really hard and outplay your draft status and everything else. If he gets a Jacob Rodriguez, he's going to be like, doink. Sorry, man.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah, you're the backup. This kid is going to play the lights out. Incredibly impactful linebacker. 7 forced fumbles, 4 picks, 70 stops. Just an absolute, just a ripper on defense. He screws up so many plays for the offense all over the field, at the edges, blitzing through the gaps, TFLs, you name it. He's just everywhere, and he is the guy that when you're done, it's college on Saturday, you're like, man, I'm really glad we don't have to see you again. That was a pain in the ass. And Jacob be like, yep, I did my job.
There's also a huge crossover in the Venn diagram between Texas Tech fans and Texans fans. So he would immediately be beloved by the fan base. I'll tell
Yeah,
you that much.
jersey sales. Where would he be? Like fourth, probably.
Maybe higher, honestly.
Wow. Well, I mean, you just signed your all universe edge, so I would hope he's number one. But yeah,
So Chiefs at 29. Reminder: they got Mansour Delane at 9. There is a particular player that is still on the board that I think is a perfect fit, and it's a big reason why I didn't go receiver at 9, because I knew it was very likely that Denzel Boston was going to be there at 29, and he is. So I'm taking him. So I'm addressing
Oh,
corner.
man.
I'm addressing receiver. We'll figure out edge on day 2. We knocked out 2 of our 3 biggest needs, in my opinion, and we got immediate high-level contributors for both.
Yeah, and you got really good players. We've been saying it all year, but certainly since the combine, this has been the refrain that we have all echoed. You just need to come out of this draft because of the way it's constructed. You just have to get good players. And I know that sounds like a truism, of course, statement, but in this draft particularly, you're going to be tempted to say, we need an edge. And you're going to look at who's left at edge and say, I don't love it. But there's this really good football player over here that we don't, quote unquote, need as much. And I'm going to go back to the Ibuka example. If they didn't need him last year, boy, they need him this year. And how much difference a year makes. You just take the good football players. And if the Chiefs come out of the first round with Delane and Denzel Boston, you got 2 good football players who are capable of starting. They are both needs. So the Chiefs lucky enough there. But even if they weren't, I don't think you're going to look back. Like, could Denzel not be awesome? Sure. He could be kind of pedestrian. He's still going to be good. I don't have any doubts about the fact that he's just going to be a solid player. I think he's probably going to be better than that. But could he be kind of average? Yeah. Do I think Delane's going to be average in any way? No, not in any universe. I think a lot of things would have to happen for that to occur. So you come out of a first round filling 2 needs with 2 good football players. Kansas City's just not going to be sad. They're going to be thrilled.
And I will say he's just a different type than what they have on the team, right? They
Correct.
have an undersized speed demon. They have really kind of a slot-only player who probably isn't going to be on the team long-term anyway. They don't have a true X receiver with size and contested catchability. They haven't had that in a while. They tried to get that with DeAndre Hopkins, but by then Hopkins was kind of cooked, not going to lie. They haven't really had a young, great contested catcher, honestly, since Tyreek. Tyreek wasn't big, but he was really good at winning the ball in the air, especially for his size. But and even before that, it's Dwayne Bowe. It's just not something this team has had for a very long time. So he just gives them an archetype that they desperately need. All right, Miami at 30. Again, reminder, they got David Bailey at 11. And so I was trying to think okay, this team has so many needs. I'm just going to focus on whoever the best player on the board is, because it's very likely that the best player is probably going to fit one of their needs, because they need almost everything.
Yep.
And the best player left on the board to me was Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. So 2 defensive picks back to back. I get an electric safety, super high upside Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I get another edge of David Bailey. My defense already had a very good interior defensive line trio. Linebackers good. We still got to figure out corner, but everything else for me defensively is pretty good here.
Yeah, I've been waiting to drop this on you until you picked him. So I was hoping you were going to pick him in the first round.
He wasn't going to get much further, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. There's a possibility, again, in the real world on Thursday night, that he slips out of the first round. I don't think that's warranted. I think he is a better football player than that. I'll just say that. 6'3", 201. 336 coverage snaps. Again, that wonderful snap, that wonderful stat. Snaps per reception. How many snaps is he in coverage before somebody gets a completion on him? This is one of, if not the most ludicrous stat in the entire draft this year.
So I know it's super high because teams just didn't throw at him.
No, they didn't.
Ever.
Nope. They targeted him how many times? Again, 336 coverage snaps. They threw at him 15 times. which
Come
is
on.
bananas. So, how many snaps before somebody got a catch on him?
Oh God, 50.
52. 52.3 snaps in coverage before anybody got a catch. Not a touchdown, not first down, a catch. 52 coverage snaps. It's bonkers.
It's like
Like,
2 games.
really, really, really good is like 25. He doubled that. Like, completely ridiculous. NFL pass rating against when targeted 50. Like, again, versatility, box, a line in the box 401 times, free safety 198 times. Put him wherever. He's got good size. Oh, he's not the fastest. Watch him on the field, folks. Super smart, really aware, starts moving more quickly because he knows what's coming. Very, very good football player in every phase. If he falls out of the first round, it's purely because he has an S attached to his name. Like, that's it. Somebody's just playing the old positional value game, and they're overlooking, again, what have we said? A very good football player. Dolphins would be thrilled with this pick.
Also, keep in mind the reason why he wasn't targeted that much at Toledo is because he was at Toledo, and if you're like the opposing offensive coordinator, like you're not going to target the guy going to the NFL if you're playing against Toledo. You're going to target anybody else.
Both his corner, well, two of his three corners, because again, nickel setups are also in this draft. So 3 guys going to the NFL this year, and they had another guy go to the NFL last year. Like, yeah, Toledo's low key like the mid-major DB factory.
Them and like Ohio usually has somebody. Miami of
Cal.
Ohio usually has somebody.
Cal.
Oh yeah, Cal has like 2-3 DBs a year.
Yeah, they have like 6 over the last 2 years that are all really good players. So
Washington has 2 corners in this draft. Like, I'm a big Price Hawk fan.
I'm not calling Washington.
Like round 4.
Not calling Washington a mid-major though.
No.
I
But
live in the
DB
Northwest. Not a thing.
Now, if you ask an Oregon fan,
well, sure. Ask Jeff Schwartz. He'll tell you they're a mid-major.
All right. Pat's at 31. Keeping the DB train going. Carlton Davis is 30. And I know people outside of Pat's Nation might not realize that, but they need an answer for like the post-Carlton Davis world across from Gonzo. And to me, the best possible fit is Colton Hood. Like, absolute dream fit for the Patriots defense. He is a big, long, polished press corner. Has some work to do as a zone defender. Has significant work to do as a zone defender, actually. Has some work to do as a tackler. But, like, if we're just going to sit there and play man coverage with him and Carlton Davis and Gonzo, unless you have, like, a 6'8" receiver, I don't think you're going to get much done.
Yeah, Colton Hood is one of my favorite players from my play style perspective in this corner class. He's 5'11", 193, very solidly built. Looks a little bit bigger on film. I thought he was over 6 foot. I was surprised he measured in underneath that. But
standing next to him, he feels over 6 foot too. I feel like Big Combine shorted him.
Yeah, Big Combine. The measurements. 50 tackles, which was second only to D'Angelo Pons in terms of corners who tackle. So that's catnip for me. 20 stops, led the class from pure outside corner perspective in stops. Very, very good player. Yes, again, not necessarily in every system, but at least passable in all systems right now. And if you're talking about press man, way above passable. Like, day one NFL starter right now with that skill set. So if you're just going to stand him over there in kind of that, we've said it over and over again, the Reek Woolen role in Seattle, where you just go kill, just press and kill. Make sure that guy doesn't really get off the line and just hassle the hell out of him if he does. Colton Hood is going to be ideal for that role right now.
Brings us to Seattle at 32.
Yeah, a lot of the people I would have liked for Seattle are off the board. One, Colton Hood, Manuel Pregnon, like a lot of this sort of low-hanging fruit that you would hope that if you're an opposing team, that a Super Bowl champion wouldn't pick off the ground as drop dollars. A lot of those are off the board, so I'm curious here.
So this is pure gluttony.
Just more of a good thing.
It's so nasty, and like I can't believe that I allowed myself to put myself in this position.
You're in the hot dog costume.
Can
Who
you
let this happen?
imagine a better mentor for Keldrick Falk than Tank Lawrence?
No, no, they have. I think I might have been on May's pod that we were on where I said if you're if you're looking at archetypes, including the way they came into the league, super physically gifted, didn't necessarily manifest early on, but like Tank has been there and is better now. I think he's aging like wine. He is better now, more effective now, happier now in the Seattle system than he's ever been in his NFL career. And that's saying something because he's had a bunch of NFL success. Like, if you're like, hey, a guy that has very recently, but very fully bought into the Seahawks way, saying to a rookie, hey, if you do it the right way, this town's going to love you forever. I'll teach you how to do it the right way. Yeah, no, I love it. And so many gifts.
Same body type. Like,
Yeah.
it could be the same skill set. Like, Falk just has a little bit to get there, but like Tank will teach him how to weaponize his frame and his power, because he doesn't know how strong he is. I mean, maybe he does, but he doesn't use it like he could.
Yeah, I think with Falk, like, he does. When you see him as a run defender, and I know we're not talking about him as a run defender, and that's not the conversation around Falk. Everybody worries about the finishing numbers, and well, they should, right? But typically, if you see a guy like that has that many gifts and he has that little production against the pass game, he was one of the great mysteries for me in this draft. I wanted to kind of solve why this happened, right? And when I went into the tape, I was staggered. I was like, he is an absolute predator against the run. He destroys offensive linemen regularly, just tosses them, just roughs them out of the way. Like, we're talking about a guy 6'5", 285, long arms, super good burst, a strange amount of bend for his size. Speaking of like Tank Lawrence, like, he has all the gifts and he weaponizes them against offensive linemen in the run all the time. Like, not highlights, like regularly you see him destroy offensive linemen, which is the first part of a good pass rush, is getting rid of the guy in front of you, right? And he does it all the time, like instantly, so quickly, just defeats blocks left and right. It is really about finishing, and people think finishing is not a skill, and it is. And some guys have a natural predilection to just finish as pass rushers, and you can see him on tape. We even talk about it. We'll be like, that guy's a finisher, man. He doesn't have the greatest traits, but he gets guys on the ground when he gets there. He doesn't have that. Like, that's the part he doesn't get. It's not that he can't weaponize his gifts against offensive linemen to beat them. He does it all the time in like super quick, violent ways. And you're like, okay, just go kill the quarterback. And he doesn't. And Tank is a good finisher. And it's a fascinating conundrum as to whether or not that piece can be taught. If anybody can teach him, it's probably Tank. And that's all he has to learn. Like, he's right to the doorstep, which makes him the most frustrating eval ever. It's like he's got everything you'd want. If you're talking about how to build a pass rusher in a lab, it looks like Keldrick Falk. His measurables, his testing scores, his power, all that stuff. It's just like one thing that's kind of the most important deal. You got to finish the deal. But
it's like the meme about how to draw an owl, and it's like, draw 2 circles, draw the rest of the owl.
Right. And then a miracle occurs. And I'm so fascinated to see if somebody can connect those wires, because he's so close. You look at his rushes, like the quick passing game is just the bane of his existence. Guys trying to get rid of the ball in like 2.1 seconds because they know he's going to be there in a heartbeat, and he is, and they chuck it, and like, he's so close so often. Like, if I told you that if I cut off Keldrick Falk's pass rushes like 0.5 seconds before they ended, and then
you think he'd have like 30 sacks?
I was like, guess how many sacks that guy had? You would have been like, I don't know, 15, 16, and he had what, 2? You're just like, what happened between? He was so close. What happened? So fascinating player, really, really gifted. Typically don't get somebody with that combination of traits at the very end of the first round. That's just not a thing.
So obviously the entire first round's on the screen here. I'm going to post this on Twitter as well. I would love for you guys to go into the PFSN mock draft simulator, do your own mock draft tonight, lock it in, and then post that under the one that I post on Twitter, because I want to see. Like, I feel like I'm wildly different than everybody. I haven't looked at too many mock drafts on purpose because I didn't want it to influence me. I feel like this one's pretty different. I want to see how different. Like, I want to see if you guys are just like wildly different than me, which I suspect that you are. So I'm going to post this one in just a second. Make sure to do your own mock, post it on your mind, because I am probably out on multiple limbs, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that at all. But thanks for having me. This has become a fun tradition. We started this, I think Kansas City was the first year that we did it because we were renting the house and you were there and you were like, hey, you want to sit in and just skewer my picks? And I was like, sure, sounds great. And now it's an annual tradition. It really kicks off draft week. Again, tonight we're doing this. Tomorrow we have Draftsmas Eve. And then, Thursday night, kick off the big show.
Again, we will see you guys tomorrow over on the Bootleg Football Podcast channel for that. Also, we have a bootleg episode, or not bootleg episode, it's a Blue Chip Committee episode, but it's on the Blue Chip, or on the bootleg. Wow, Brett. Holy shit. Okay,
Catching up a little bit. Catching up a little bit.
We have a Blue Chip Committee episode with Trev and Connor from the NFL Stock Exchange that just went live on the Bootleg channel like a couple hours ago. And then tomorrow we have our stream on the Bootleg channel, and then all 3 days of the draft we're live streaming. And then we have draft rankings also coming out on the Patreon. So go check that out. Do your mocks on PFSN. If you're watching either on YouTube or if you've been watching this whole time on Buzzer, thank you so much for being here. We're over 2 hours into the stream. I appreciate all of you. I also have my own episode. Probably should have led with this, honestly. On pass rusher thresholds, I shot at the combine. That's going to be coming out before the draft, which is like 2 days away, so I got to finish it. But very nice, cinematic, all that fun stuff that you're used to seeing from me. That's also coming out on this channel very soon. So I'll see you guys with several things, and until next time.